roll. Co-pilot on the passenger side, be so fly. Yeah, she so lit, we so high. Just me and my chick, yeah. Just me and my chick, yeah. Co-pilot on the passenger side, be so fly. Yeah, she so lit, we so high. Just me and my chick, yeah. Just me and my chick, yeah. She give me a bit of her love. Yo, what up, y'all? Welcome to another one, man. It's your boy Ra1, and this is Sparking Conversation, and y'all know what I do each and every week, man. I get up here and I talk to some of the world's most interesting people, and tonight I'm going to do the same thing. You know why? Because tonight we're going to tackle a topic I've never, ever tackled before, right? Because from what I heard, that when it comes down to money, the one thing that it can't buy you is... Oh, hold on, y'all. Sorry. I apologize if y'all heard that. That's crazy. But the one thing that I do know is that they always say when it comes to money that you can't buy happiness. Money can buy you happiness. That's the one thing that they say money can't buy you. So tonight, my guest that I have on tonight, she says is totally opposite. She knows how you as an individual can buy happiness. Literally happiness. So we're gonna get into that conversation. I'm so anxious to see from her perspective how this works, and then hopefully from you, the audience tonight, and those of you that's gonna watch the playback, you guys can tap in and maybe figure out if this is something that you can apply to your life and make sure you can have the life that you really want. Right? Okay, because happiness has to be a part or tied to things that you really want. So we're gonna figure this out. But before we get into that, let me just let y'all know I have to do the same thing I do each and every week, and that's give thanks to all the people that download the audio version of this platform. Thank y'all so much, because like I say every time, when it comes down to podcasting on this platform, it's about your audio. The visual part, yes, that's extra, that's good, that's dope. It could be always a part of what your motivation is when it comes down to it, but it's really about your audio, because that's how it moves around. The people that really consume podcasts consume the audio. As we all know, that the reels and the shorts and all these different things are the way that people actually consume your content after it's already produced, or however that goes, right? That's how they consume it after that. But literally, the people who are actually into podcasting is no different than the people that are into books. They listen. Okay. And they listen to the audio version. And I'm definitely want all of you guys out there. I want to thank each and every one of y'all, because it's really important that the people that download the audio version get their shout out, because I understand as much as anybody else should that in this podcast game, this platform game, that's what it's about. So thank y'all so much. All right. So listen, we got a bunch of people that's already checking in. We already got them checking in from Russia and everywhere else. Because listen, that's what I wanted to tell y'all. Like last time, or no, a few times or multiple times, I tell y'all on the platform that we worldwide. And I don't really think a lot of people really think, I don't know if they think it's cap. I don't know what it is. But, you know, we averaging somewhere around, 40-something downloads a month. And I do 2 shows a month. So I know to a lot of other people that might not seem like a lot, but to me, you got to really think about it. Like, yo, listen, that's a lot, because it's all over the world, and it's one of those things where, people may look at you and feel like the only thing that comes down to success is money. Like that's the way you leverage your success, or whether you feel like you've been successful in life is counted to how much money you may have or get or make, or what it may look like to other people. Versus real people really understanding the opportunities that you've been given. Like a lot of opportunities that you've been given ain't been tied to money. Some people don't understand, like when you have a passion for something, that you would do it even if money wasn't involved. So the fact that you could do something that you love to do and it can bring money should help a lot of people understand that it's okay to really dive into the things that you love to do. How about that? Versus it being something that you count as successful or not successful based on your monetary value or your monetary gain off of the things you put in, right? So listen, I appreciate y'all. So thank y'all already for the check-in. I'm going to show y'all comments in a second. I'm going to get through a couple of more things we got to do. We got to give a shout out, because today it's Tuesday. I forgot to load the actual thumbnail, but we had a brand new skit drop today. Not this one, Ooblifter 20, but we had the Ooblifter series 21 dropped today. I meant to drop the thumbnail, but I was moving around and had a lot of stuff going on before the show. But yeah, episode 21. Thank y'all so much, man. I appreciate y'all. For everybody that already push play and already sharing and already leaving comments. Thank y'all so much. And I definitely appreciate all the people that's been watching all the other content so far. It really means a lot. And I'm looking at the numbers and thank y'all for the people that's going out there to watch Kill No One Part 2. You guys are going out there really checking it out. Thank y'all. Okay, because I know heavily I like to market and promote all the new things that I'm doing, even though Kill No One Part 2 was something that we did over the summer. I'm still thankful that you guys are going out there pushing play on that and then actually making comments and stuff. Thank y'all, man, that y'all like that joint. We got part 3 coming soon. All right. I'm filming that coming soon and it's going down. So thank y'all. Right, for pushing play, man. That's all I can say, man. Because so many people out here, they don't really believe in themselves, right? Because they in fear of what it may look like to other people. They look at their age. They look at all these other things as means to why they don't believe in themselves. And some of us, we don't have no choice. I know me personally, I have no choice at this particular moment and time in my life but to believe in myself. So I'm just thankful for those of you guys that actually push play on the content that I do and believe in it yourself because, although I get more views and then comments or all the other shit, I'm sure people have things to say, and eventually they'll say it, and we'll take all of it in. You know what I mean? So, all right. Other than that, April, y'all know what we doing. We don't wait. We create. The dopest networking kickback is definitely going down on Saturday, April 18th from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. All you have to do to get in the building is the RSVP. And that's at the collective visions and the number 1 at gmail.com. Make sure you put network in the subject and we're going to get y'all on that RSVP list so you can be in the building. We got models, actors, actresses. We got clothing designers. We got script and concept writers. We got brand ambassadors, directors, videographers, booking and casting agents will be in the building. But it's all of you guys. So we need all of you guys in the building so we can make this an official, you know what I'm saying? Because one thing that I want to make sure that we do is that we make sure that anytime we do something that when everybody comes or if anybody comes, when you leave there, you actually got something that that you gain from going. Not just going to, networking events just to say you went to one, but actually linking with people and getting some work in. I've been to a bunch of networking events in this area, and afterwards, nobody really is serious about what they showed up for. They serious about being seen, but they're not serious about putting in the work. Because what I notice about a lot of people, they don't want to put in the work. They want to come into something that's already working so they could already be popping. But they don't understand that the people that's a part of the building block, that's a part of the foundation, they always gonna get first. So you still coming in as a worker when you could be coming in as a boss, but that's on you. Right. But other than that, thank y'all. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. All right. So what else do we got going on? Puppies. If you guys looking for some puppies, we got some Staffordshires that's rolling around. We got a few left. I got some actual video of them. We're gonna be putting them up so you guys can actually see them live in person outside of the pictures. So get ready for that. But if you guys are looking or in need of a companion, a new companion for someone, your loved one, then holla at me so I can connect y'all and we can make that shake. Other than that, if you are a business, a local business, you can advertise your business right here on Sparking Conversation for only $10 a month. And we averaging around 20 to 30,000 views a month. So that's about a good 2 to 3,000 a day. We want all of you guys to just pretty much just understand that, helping another business is helping yourself, right? Because I'm on air and I'm out here and we're gonna make sure that your advertisement gets its own shine and gets its own run and it's gonna move, right? So thank y'all to all the people that already signed up and it's available for you guys out there. Okay. So with all that being said, thank y'all. Let's get into the meat of things. All right, so I'm gonna go through my rant, but before I get to my rant, y'all know I gotta show y'all my what did you know segment. All right. So I'm gonna share my screen real quick and I'm gonna hit y'all with this because I wanna know, did y'all know? Because it's so many things out here that are against us. I saw where people was taking the snow, right, from outside that fell recently, and they were doing all these different tests where they was putting lighters to it and all these other things trying to say that it's not real and everything else that goes on, right? And I understand that. But then we had some people coming around and just taking the snow, putting it on the stove in a pan, and it was melting. But then we had some people who took the snow, put it on microscopes, and find all kind of lead and metal and parasites in the snow. So what I wanted to say about all of that is that, there's information that a lot of people are not privy to. And then whenever they get the information, so many people are so skeptical of everything that they don't understand how to do what my guest said last week. Eat the meat and leave the bone, right? Take out what you need and leave what you don't. What we all need to understand is that science is real. Just as much as we have to tie ourselves to the spiritual space, the science space is real too as well, right? So we know that with the right amount of heat, that snow melts. That's why they put it on the stove and they warm it up and they let it melt that way. Now, direct heat and all that other stuff, that's a different component when it comes down to ice and melting ice and stuff like that. But either way it go, information is information. But I want to know, did y'all know? Because people were saying that it was chemtrail and all these other things in the snow. That's why it wasn't melting the regular heat, which I believe true. Because listen, everything that's in the atmosphere that they spray got to come down whenever it's raining and all these other things, right? So of course, if that's the way, but we always understand that nature and God got his way of killing things. So all that ice and all that snow that came, it killed all that. So now that it's back and it's gone, I want everybody else to understand that we got to pay attention to everything else they're doing. They're not just spraying the air, they're spraying our everyday produce too. So listen, I'm going to share my screen and I want to know, did y'all know? Hold on for a second. We're going to get this popping because I want to know, did y'all know?
Day of gassing another room out here. We use our ethylene liquid, which turns into a gas. We're going to be doing room 3 today. These are the bananas for today. So in here we do gas organics and regular bananas. But the only difference is that nothing is stacked. Only organics are stacked in a row. You never put regular bananas under organics because then it makes it not organic. So we grab our liquid, put it in a little machine. 2 bottles for this one. Pour it up. Close the room. Change the temperature to 60 degrees. Both sides. Once this is done, this is all set. We turn our little sign here saying that it's gas. So we're gonna come here to check them out. We're gonna pull a banana out. This is one of them. This is maybe a 3A's. After it's been gassed, it starts to turn yellow. We have this little pulp thing that checks the temperature and the pulp on these. That gives us the reading. We're gonna check this side. And this is what the other side looks like. Starting to break in a little bit of yellow. Both of them compare left and right side.
Yeah, so I just wanted to know, did y'all know that they spray ethylene gas on the bananas? Did y'all know that? Because I know a lot of us, bananas is one of those things that we carry normally. Like that's one of the most common fruit that people have in their homes is bananas, right? Because it's one of them things that you leave out. It's visible. So whenever you need that quick little something and you thinking healthy, the banana is there. And, it's something that you pull out. But did y'all know that? Even the organic or not so organic, did y'all know that they spray it with gas? Like, that's crazy. And I'm thinking like, yo, how when it comes down to the banana, it's got the peel on the outside. So does it affect the actual banana on the inside? But then again, when you peel it, people rinse their bananas off. Some people don't. Either way it go, at that particular point in time, it soaks into the actual peel, right? And so at some point it has to get into the banana. I would think the longer that the banana takes from processing to the grocery store to actually getting into somebody's home, as it's going through that process, then yeah, it's probably just soaking in all that gas. And then by the time you get it popping open, you know what I mean? So damn, you got to think about it. Somebody, a lot of people will say this too, like, yo, it's nothing that we can't eat. Well, it is. It's just you got to grow it. Now, what does that say to you? Or you got to go to the farmers market. Like you got to find farmers markets in your city or in your area. Most of the time, where people live at, there's farmers markets, so you can just got to find them, and you got to go out there and shop for your produce because they ain't spraying shit because they barely want to add any extra chemicals to the things that they have because all that stuff got to be paid for. Versus the big companies who just trying to sell y'all in a way to keep y'all back and forth into these doctors' offices because they all work together. It doesn't matter. People saying they vegetarians and all this organic and this, that, and the third. Still, they still finding ways to do foul stuff to that, to keep you in that revolving door. And my thing to people is that, listen, it's okay if you get the information. If it turns you off to say, yo, I can't do this, that, and the third, that's fine. But it's always a resolution to the problem. It's just if you are a resolution type of person. If you're just a person that dwells on a problem, you don't see that this is just another way for you to find out a different place to shop. It doesn't mean turn you away from the banana. It means that you got to go find the right place to get the bananas from. But then on top of that, if you are a person that understands that you might not can't trust anything, then yeah, it's okay if you change your habit or change your diet. Because when you go to other places outside of the United States and you taste their produce, you'll see it is a difference. I know me myself, just going to places like Puerto Rico, you taste the fruit over there compared to what we got over here. It's a totally different vibe, yo, for real. The chicken, the meat, everything is totally different. None of that old rubber fake whatever they putting in these new chicken tenders that's out here in most of the places. It's like, yo, they don't even really real chicken. They ain't even real chicken. You go to other places, you could tell the difference. And it's a big difference. So nah, it's alternatives out there. You just gotta be a person that use your phone for more than just finding out other people's business. That's it. Word. But other than that, that's that. So as far as my rant for this week, y'all know we have been talking about a lot of different things that's been going on out here. But for the most part, tonight, we're not going to do that. We're going to get into what we need to know. And what we need to know is how to buy happiness, because I have always been told that money cannot buy you happiness. And for those of y'all that are out there, we all know that that's just a form of a way of a person to keep you kind of broke mentally, because what they tell you is that money is the root of all evil, but they don't always label it in a way where they understand that it's the root of all evil. It's not all evil. So it's the root of it. So basically, when people are doing a lot of evil, it's because money is involved. That's what that means. It doesn't mean that money itself is tied to evil. No, when people are doing evil, that's because money is involved. Period. When it comes down to all the kids that are missing, or all of this, all everything that's going on out here, organs and people going through things that are real out here, it's all based on money. The people who got money is using money to hurt people who don't got money in order for them to keep more money when they already got more money than the people who don't have money. Don't y'all understand that? Like, I know I said a lot of yeah, but it makes sense once you think about it. Come on, y'all, let's really think about it. It's the people who have the most money that do things to the people with the least amount of money, and it's weird. They're trying to get rid of the middle class, and a lot of it has to do with because we're not paying attention to investments. We're not paying attention to how we're supposed to move our money around. We're paying attention to the weekend and what to spend money on instead of what to put money in. We want to have money go bring friends back. But people are such a selfish mindset, right? It's only about them, me, 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 and they don't understand that that ain't what life is set up for. If it was only about you, then none of this would be an issue because all they would have kept was Adam and Eve in the garden. That was it. Then what's the reason for everybody else then? If it was just meant for just to be one person, yo, I don't know. Make it make sense. But either way, I'm about to bring my guest up because she says she has the way to let us know how we could buy happiness. But before we get into that, hold on. we got some guests in the building. Yo, what's going on, Asker? Where you at? He said, I am Russian. I appreciate you on the check-in. Jace Clay, I appreciate you on the check-in. You a rapper? All right, I appreciate that, bro. Word, send some of your music through so we can check you out. And why are Americans racist? Okay, so coming from someone that's out in Russia, Americans, I can't necessarily say it's all Americans, right? But it's an American thing to have to deal with racism because of the way America was established. America was established off of off of hatred, right? And greed. And because of that, it allowed people to feel a sense of entitlement based on the way that they look, because we deal with all kind of things, colorism and different things, whether you are a opposite race or a European based race, or you just, part of the so-called African American, Black, indigenous race, where you have different shades of people. It's so much going on with that. So, um, to answer your question out there, uh, it's not all Americans. It's just an American thing to have to deal with racism, right? So at some point in your life, you're gonna have to deal with it over here, and how you process it and how you move forward past whatever the situation that is, and it's how you go. But a lot of it has to deal with the reason. I will tell you this: since you out there in Russia, it's probably gonna be crazy to have this conversation because of the way the United States and Russia's relationship is, or the way it seems, in the public. Uh, I can't necessarily say it's the Americans or more so than it is those who run America, because even the Americans that are racist, who cares? Like, for us, we can care less. I mean, it affects us when it comes down to the judicial system and all these other things, the financial system, yeah, but mostly because we don't stick together. But hopefully that answers your question. Double salute, Cam. I see you, bro. I know we went through a lot today, man. I know. Not surprising due to a lot of processed food that we have, and that's a fact. It's a lot of processed foods out here, but the more that we know, the more that we could change that. Because that's the only thing. Most people won't change things that they don't know, right? It can't if it ain't wrong, if you don't know it's wrong, you ain't gonna change it. That's the number one thing that they say about people who suffer from addiction. They don't change because they don't think nothing is wrong. But anyway, we're gonna get down to it. All right. I'm about to bring my guest up. Y'all, let's learn. Y'all, let's learn. I got a bunch of people that's on right now. Let's learn. Let's learn how to buy happiness, y'all. What's going on? Hello, hello.
Hey.
Hey, hey, hey. Okay, so listen, I know you heard a little bit in the background, about our conversation today because, this is one of the things that you reached out to me about. So let's do this real quick. If you don't mind, can you introduce yourself to the audience and then let them know why you're on the platform this evening?
Yeah, so my name is PIRET, and I usually I just talk about happiness. I consider myself happiness expert. I've studied a lot. For me, myself, I'm naturally happy. So the way I started, I was like thinking like why other people are not just happy the way I am. So that's how I started like getting more into happiness and all that. I did personal coaching before. But then I went more into happiness because, like I said, I wanted to find out why can't people just be happy? That's
Mm,
something that came naturally to me. And I found it out. I found out a lot of interesting things.
okay, great. So where are you from, like originally? Because I can hear the accent. And where are you from?
I'm originally from Estonia, but I've been
Estonia.
living here. Yeah. But I've been living here already over 20 years. So,
Gotcha, gotcha. Estonia. I've never met anybody from Estonia. Your accent is really distinct. So that's really amazing. So listen, you said that you were naturally happy. I think for the most part, there comes times where people have those moments of natural happiness, right? But the things that they've gone through in life has caused them to not find happiness naturally. It comes in, maybe a forced way, or maybe in things, substances, or whatever way that they could find it in order for them to get that. What made you feel like you could find happiness in a way where you could be an expert at showing people how to discover it?
Well, the thing is, well, like when you say naturally, because I was already from childhood, and I like same way. My life has not been easy. Like I've gone through a lot of hardships, but to go through those hardships when you have happy and positive mindset is easier. So like when you have those hard moments and you have somehow natural way of looking at that one light at the end of the tunnel, and you striving to go, like you just have to keep on going until you get there again.
Yeah.
It's easier to like, instead of like, if I would like stopped when the things were hard, or would have got upset, or and I let myself usually be upset or something for a little bit of time amount, like little bit time. I
Hmm.
process the negative feelings and everything. I don't agree with the thing. One thing, let's make this clear. I don't agree that people have to be always happy. That's not normal. You know,
Right.
we have all those other emotions. We have anger, we have sadness, we have fear. All those have purposes. We need all of them in our life. So, but then when you deal with them, you process them, then you go back to the happiness. That's the
Gotcha.
Yeah. It's not like it's not normal to just like natural happiness doesn't mean for me that I'm never sad, I'm never angry, I'm never any of those other feelings. I just know how to deal with those other feelings. But my goal is always to get back to happiness.
Gotcha. So your goal. And I think that's the most important part because whenever things come up in people's lives that they feel are negative, they don't put a goal at the end of that. And I think that's important that you said that is that, okay, so I'm dealing with this, but my goal is to get back to happiness because that's the feeling that I want to feel. I don't want to feel this feeling that I'm feeling right now, although what I'm going through right now is a real thing. I don't want to feel it. So how can I get to or back to the place where I feel
Hmm.
better about life versus letting life just take me into a place where I'm reactive based on, the things that happen to me. Well, I think trauma has a lot to do with that. So let's talk a little bit about you and your mindset because for a person that specializes in happiness and then you did say that your life hasn't been easy. Let's talk a little bit about that before we get into what makes you an expert in happiness, because we got to figure out, like, if people can relate to you, right? Because going through things and how you deal with it is the one thing that a lot of people don't talk about. They talk about what they went through, but they rarely talk about how they went through it. It's just like, I got fired or I've been laid off or I lost my house or I lost my car, but they don't talk about how, like, oh, it was leading up to it because, this thing happened and I had this accident happen and this person came into my life. See, those things are the things that people don't necessarily talk about because that adds to the trauma. So for you, how did you make it from, you know, Estonia to the United States, first of all, and how was life for you before coming here?
Well, that's the thing as well. Like the way I see a lot of people when they talk, and that's where my natural happiness comes in. And not everybody has that. Because when I was in Estonia and all those like Russian, when it was still Soviet Union,
Yeah.
and a lot of people saw all the negative sides of it. I was a child, and I was
Mm,
doing like all the things from the playful side. As a child, I didn't see what the hardship was back then. So I saw like playfulness things, and like let's say there was a time where there was a bread line, and I think we had to stay there like for 2 hours or something. We were running out like just to get a bread.
right.
But I was a child. So I was playing around and having fun. So
Mm,
that's the difference. You see, you just my mind somehow I was lucky on that. process, the way my brain developed, that I always found a positive way for the situation. And you see that kind of people. I'm not the only one. There's other people in there. They try to find like the positive way for that situation all over the world for whatever situation they're in. And the way for other people to see and to find it, you try to see what's the next positive action you can do, something that would lead you to the next positive possible outcome.
Right.
And sometimes there may be nothing that you can see right away. Maybe it's something, just a little tiny thing you can do, just like smile at somebody. That makes actually a positive feeling as well.
Mm.
But
Well,
that,
yeah, I don't know. You. That's some small things that people could do. I think those are important as well.
but let's get to that. Like, and I'm gonna like go to that buying happiness part as well.
Okay.
So because we're gonna talk about a little bit on that, and then we can get back to other ways of the happiness as well, with or without money. So usually
Okay.
the way I start as well is like, I'm gonna ask you, why do you think that money can't buy happiness?
Why do I think? Because I think that actual phrase is tied to relationship. I think because for men, we have been conditioned to only feel like we can be accepted based on our finances, where we are in our financial space, right? So for men, the phrase is being used mainly for more for men than it is for women growing up. So in that sense, it's like when it comes to a woman, like you can't buy happiness because we tie our happiness to women, right? Or to a woman. Whereas women tie their security to their happiness, right? Not a man. So it's a little different. So for us, it's like, yo, when you have money and stuff like that, they always say, men go out here and they spend this money on women. They make sure that they do all these different things the whole time. They're just drowning because this person doesn't really love them. They just love what you do for them. And so it's just depending on what that phrase is tied to, because we also know that money will allow you to have happiness, especially whenever you're vacationing and you're traveling or you're eating the right foods that you love, or, you can support your children the right way. You're not living the way that you may have grown up. So we can see how it does, but where it says that you can't, we can see that as well. So
Mhm.
that's why.
Well, and now I'm gonna say the other places as well. The reason why people say we can't buy happiness, because it's just like a programmed word, like sentence that people have learned. It's just the sentences we've been repeating and repeating, and nobody never thought about like if it's true, why we're saying it, and all the things. So there's not actual like a first person who actually said that. There's no actual referral who said it first. It kind of started from one point, and it's in my book as well, how people start saying it.
Mm-hmm.
And from there on, people were always just repeating it without even thinking of it. And that's why people still say money can't buy happiness, and they don't even think about it. Can it? They just say it because that's something that they've heard, and they keep
Mm-hmm.
on saying it.
Right.
That's one point. They just say it
Okay.
because everybody's saying it.
Yeah, I
That's
agree with that.
Yeah, that's the first point. And then the second one, where we go to like point to that actually can buy happiness, is when they look at the people who have money but they're not happy. There's a lot of
Yeah.
people who have a lot of money but they're not happy at all. A lot of miserable people with a lot of money. So that's the other thing that why people say that money can't buy happiness, because they look at those rich people who are not happy. And
True.
that's where we have to make a difference. And that's what I'm trying, that's my goal, to make people to understand with my book and everything, that it's not that money can buy happiness, and we have to stop saying that, but just having money doesn't make you happy.
Right. That's
So
true.
now it makes a difference. Yes, you can have money and buy happiness with it, or you can cause a lot of unhappiness in the world and for yourself with money. But you see the
Yeah.
difference?
Yeah,
Depends
that's
how
true.
you use the money that you have. You can either can do good things with your money, or you can do bad things with your money. But just
Right.
having money not gonna make you happy. But you
Right.
can buy things with, like, you can buy happiness even with the simple things, because we live in such a monetary world, and the way happiness is when you feel it. And
Yeah.
let's say, do you feel happy when it's your payday?
Right.
That's money, but it's like
Right.
it's the things that you're gonna buy with it afterwards. But you
Right.
do feel happy when you get money, or you buy some, you pay your rent. Simple thing, you get to buy your, pay
Yeah.
for your rent. That's again money buying happiness. So it's just the way we just been repeating it in a wrong way all this time. If we had to stop repeating that and saying just having money doesn't make you happy.
Gotcha. That makes sense because you're right. Not just having it, because that is another way that people look at it. To all the people who have a lot of money and they're not happy, right? Because there's been so many people like in Hollywood and just different places that's just has boatload of money, but then they commit suicide, and people can't understand it because they feel like, yo, you got money, you can do anything you want. Especially people who don't have a lot of money, they feel like that's what's going to make them happy, and then they realize it's not. But I think you make sense when it comes down to the things that you can buy that may make you happy. It's just that what I looked at it as, um joy. I think joy and happiness are two different things. And I think the ultimate goal for people is to understand how to have joy. Because if you can, then in the midst of whether you have money or not, you could come back to that positive place that you need. Because, money can possibly buy happiness. And I believe that based on the way that you broke it down. But it also can cause sadness and everything else for the lack
Hmm.
thereof, right?
Yeah, and
So,
that's
mhm,
what, that's the other side when I'm talking as well. I was just saying, same way as it can buy happiness, it can also buy unhappiness. And so many people buy unhappiness. Like you said, they buy unhealthy food. When you make that
true.
choice to buy the unhealthy food, you literally buying unhappiness for yourself.
Nah, that's
You're
true.
giving money out for something that makes you feel bad, instead of buying healthy food. Yeah, you have to like also consider the prices and everything. That's the hard part. But so,
Yeah.
but if you do make the healthy choice instead of the unhealthy choice, and spend your money on a healthy choice, that's using the money in a positive way instead of buying unhappiness. And that's what I'm saying. You can totally buy unhappiness same way you can buy happiness.
Yo, that makes a lot of sense because I don't think people look at it that way. Like, yo, when you are unhappy, when you are sick, when you are dealing with things in your body based on the things you put in your body, you paid for that. Like, you bought
Mhm.
that unhappiness to yourself. Like, literally, not just brought it to yourself in that sense, but you actually paid for it to come your way too, as well. And then you have to pay to help yourself whenever you have to go to the doctor. So, no, you're right. That makes sense. So, when people eat bad foods or whenever they just accept things because they feel like it's okay for them to do, like what they put in their body, then they bought that unhappiness that they feel or that they have, or if they suffer from migraine headaches and stuff like that, it's probably because of your diet. You pay for that. and suffer and do different things that you don't have to, you actually bought that on yourself, literally in both ways. So wow, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And people don't think about it. It's just that they just, but that's just saying like you can't buy happiness is such so much in our brain because we've been repeating it. But we have to
Mm,
stop repeating that and saying not having money. No, just having money doesn't make you happy.
right. But you
It's
can
all
buy
about the
happiness.
choice what you do with your money that you have. Even if you have a lot, if you have less, it's all about what you do with it.
Right. So, like you said, buying the more healthy alternative versus the bad alternative is your way of buying happiness, because, and eventually, in the end, your body will appreciate what you did versus just having the unhealthy thing. So that's just one aspect of it. But I get it, right? I get it. That makes sense, because when it comes down to that phrase, so money can buy you happiness, and it can buy you unhappiness as well too. So in your book, is that how? Because I noticed you said you wrote a book. So is that how
Yeah,
you
I can
preface
show
it
it
in your
as
book?
well. It's
Yeah,
right
yeah, yeah.
here.
Show the book. Yeah, yeah. How to buy happiness.
Yeah.
Yes, you can. How to buy happiness. So listen, in your book, so people, to try to make sure people want to go check that out. Do you preface that part of the buy happiness and buy unhappiness as well, or is that?
Yes, I point
Oh,
that out as well. But to even get to that point where you can buy happiness or unhappiness, you have to know that's my first part of the book is explaining how what is happiness, how and how to understand happiness. Because so
mm,
many people nowadays and in a history as well, they don't even know what the happiness feels
mm,
like you were saying before that like some of the people connect happiness with having car or having some
yeah,
fancy things and all these things, which actually that's what the society tries to tell you that this is what will make you happy, but it doesn't make everybody happy. Some people like living in the woods and doing their own thing, so it's important to figure out what actually makes you happy.
right, and not
You have to
just
get
what
right
you
to the
can buy.
core of
Mm,
yourself.
right. Mm. And I think that's important because you're right. Some people, uh, because I've heard this before, like retail therapy, right? When people are upset or they feeling a certain way, when they buy new things, it makes them feel better, right? It makes
Hmm.
them feel like, whatever they was dealing with, I feel a little bit better because I was able to get this thing that I wanted and it's new or whatever. Um, so in that aspect, people do buy happiness, right? Because at
Hmm.
that particular moment, you like it, but then after a while, it doesn't become part of your happiness anymore. Like a new car or a new house. Like when you buy a new house or a new car, in the beginning, it's like, wow, I love this car or I love this house, and then once after a while, it just becomes a regular. It doesn't become a part of your happiness anymore. It just was for the moment. So material things can buy happiness for a moment. But then I think that's why joy is important, right?
Hmm.
Just in my own personal opinion of why I feel like joy is important, because joy will allow you to be okay with having things and being happy and not having things and being happy, right?
Hmm.
Because most people don't ever find happiness because they don't have the things that they feel like they want, right? Your
Hmm.
car breakdown, that's your only means of transportation. You're the only person that make everything happen. You're not going to walk around happy with your
Hmm.
car being down. But if you had joy in understanding that your car being down, that may keep you in proximity to your family or all these other things, that you can look at that as a moment of having more time with them, and then you can find joy in that versus finding happiness in whether you can get back and forth or whatever you may be dealing with. So that's why I feel like joy is one of the most important things that people can have or can figure out in their life. So that way, when things don't be happy or things don't go their way, they can still find their way, like you said earlier, to knowing that there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
Because some people stop looking at the light at the tunnel because it's so dark in the tunnel. You know what I mean?
But they have to know, and they have to practice and see what makes them feel happy. And that's what, like, in a daily basis, you have to start noticing those moments when you do feel happy. It could be something small. Somebody
Mm,
made a joke, somebody laughed, like those little, you have to know what it feels like. You call it joy the same way. Like, I just call it, like, all of them kind of happiness. For me, happiness and joy is the same.
okay.
So you say feeling joy, I say feeling happiness, but you have to know how it feels like. You have
Yeah.
to know what that joy feels like. 'Cause a lot of people,
Gotcha.
we live in that, like, society where a lot of people don't even know what it feels like because they so stressed out, they so angry, and like all the things that's going on. So they
Mm,
forgot what it feels like to feel that joy or
yeah.
happiness. So you have to
But
know that.
yeah, I think for me, though, joy, I think joy is not a feeling, right? Joy is a mindset, right? Because happiness is a feeling, but I think joy is a mindset, right? Because joy is how you control your mind and your thoughts, because you don't really feel joy, right? Joy is a thought. Like, you look at things and you can think of it and you can find the joy in it, right? That, okay, I can deal with this because of this. It's like, okay, if your lights go out and you have candles, right? You're not in the dark, right? Or if your electricity go off in a storm, but you got a fireplace that is either wood or gas, you could still be warm, right? So finding joy. So joy to me, like, right, is not a challenge to the way you look at joy at all. I'm just want to explain to the audience the difference in the way I look at joy versus happiness is just that the joy to me is more of a mindset than a feeling, because
Mhm.
you have to really look at things in order to count it as joy. You have to see it that way. Whereas, happiness is a feeling. It's what you feel, or it's the feeling you get from things that you go through, do, see, receive. You know what I mean? But joy is a mindset. Like, you
Yeah.
have to keep it in a space where you can look at things from a place where it's like, yo, even though this is negative happening, is it really? That's what I'm talking about. So for me, that's what I say. Joy is more of something you can't feel. But I get where you coming from too, as joy and happiness is the same thing. I understand that as
Mhm.
well too. Right. But I just wanted to make sure I gave my audience the way that I'm kind of looking at it, because mindset is everything. The way you look
Mhm.
at things and the way you think about things is how, emotional intelligent you are, right? So what do you
Mhm.
think about that?
Yeah, and I think that's one thing as well. Everybody has to personally think of which words are they using. Like, you using joy for mindset and everything, I'm using happiness. So
Yeah,
everybody has to pay attention how they using those, all those words, how they
gotcha.
describe it for themselves, because everyone has their own view of how they understand either joy, happiness, content, all those words. There's so many different words we use for that kind of different types of feelings and mindsets.
True, true, true. I like that. So, what made you decide to write a book?
It just start to come together. And one thing
Mm,
was because, like, that sentence always, people were saying money can buy happiness, money can buy happiness. I was just like, well, it buys happiness all the time. We pay up, like, every day. Money buys something that makes us happy. We need money because, not historically, but it's been around for more thousands and thousands of years. But we live in society where not having money is cause of a lot of people's unhappiness,
that's true.
because we can't pay our regular bills or rent. Or some people, so many people right now are in a bad situation just because they don't have money.
Yeah,
It's true. And if they would have money, they would be able to eliminate a lot of those problems.
that's true.
That's the thing. I wanted to go back to one thing before I forgot that one as well when we talked about buying that nice car.
Hmm.
But that one thing as well, for a lot of people, buying that nice car actually is also buying unhappiness. So
Ah,
they think that buying that nice car gives them happiness, like you said. For that one moment, they get the one happy moment on having that car and showing to their friends. But then most people don't buy it out in cash. So now
yeah,
you're worried about paying for it. Every month you have to have car payments, and some people can't afford those car payments. So now it's more a burden than happiness.
true.
And with all
Yeah,
those other things as well, like when people buy things that they can't buy, they can't afford, that actually causes them a lot of unhappiness. Instead of they
yeah,
thinking like, oh, I'm gonna buy when I'm gonna be able to make a payment for this thing, I'm gonna be happy. And then they, well, why I'm still not happy? Because that's just society's way of telling you that, oh, you're supposed to be happy when you have this and that or third thing, but actually not your personal happiness.
yeah. That's true. Yeah, a lot of people's happiness are tied to material things. That's true. Unfortunately, because of that whole thing that you said about friends and people and the way you look, or your image, or however that may be perceived. You're right. There are a lot of people who will buy something or spend money on something that it doesn't really give them anything but the fact that they were able to buy it, right? It's like,
Mm-hmm.
like sometimes I notice this for us, like for men, it's like suits, right? It's an outfit that we'll buy, we'll spend a lot of money on it, but we don't wear it regularly, right? But we'll spend a lot of money on a suit. We'll have it put up for whenever we need it or whenever we feel like we want to go somewhere that it has a suit is involved. But you spend so much money for something that you're not necessarily using. So it doesn't necessarily, like, it makes you happy that you can do it, but it also makes you unhappy the fact that, this is something that you're going to have to continue to do because you fluctuate in body weight, size, all the time. So spending a lot of money on something where you might be weighing one way, then 3 months later you weigh something different. Now that ain't there no more. So now you got to figure out another way. So I get where you're coming from. It's both. It's like money can buy you happiness and unhappiness at the same
Mm-hmm.
time. But the phrase of saying that it can't buy you happiness at all is not true. So I get the point. I get the point.
Mm-hmm. And there's other parts in my book as well. It's one thing is like explaining that first part to understand what is happiness for you. So that's most important thing to
Yeah.
understand what actually makes you happy. How do you think about happiness and all these things? And did a podcast on my own channel about happiness, and I've asked hundreds of people actually, like, what is happiness for you? And everybody's answer is different.
Yeah,
They
that's
don't
true.
know. Nobody answers the same. I got hundreds of different points of view. What is happiness? Like, and
That's
now tell
true.
me what is happiness? I,
Right.
I think you already, or you actually, you explained a little bit of like what is happiness in general, the way you view. But
Uh-huh.
let me ask it differently then. What makes you personally happy?
Me, like being creative. Like, right? Like being creative, like being able to just take something that I think about and bringing it to life. Like it's just a feeling that gives me like so much happiness because it was a thought. And I realized that no thought is an original thought. And so I understand that, there are things that are being downloaded to me specifically. And when I'm given these things and I'm able to actually create it and it actually comes to life, Yeah, that's one of the biggest happiness grabbers for me is being creative, right? Because in that it allows me to do other things like being a parent because I have to do certain things with my kid, you know what I mean? That makes it's just all of these different things that involves with me being creative that brings me happiness. So that's what I love. Um that brings me happiness at all times is being creative. Yeah.
Hmm. And see, and everybody needs to know what is it for them. Same way, they need to know what is it that makes them feel happy.
Yeah. And I think that's very important because we everybody knows what makes them sad. Everybody knows what, because that's the first thing people like to remind people of is what they don't like. Like
Hmm.
it's easy for a person to tell you, well, I don't like this, or I don't like that, or I don't like this, I don't like that. People are so easy to tell you what they don't like. But then when it comes down to what they do like, that's not really hardly ever the conversation. So yeah, that makes sense too as well.
Hmm. And a lot of people that we're so used to, they're so used to connecting with those, talking about those things that don't make them happy instead of talking about things that they make them happy. And I understand there's so many things going on in the world and everything like this. So we kind of have to talk about those as well. But with those, we have to talk about like what can we do to change, or is there a way to change or bring awareness to it? But just
Exactly.
sit and complain and do nothing, like,
It's
well, at least bring awareness to it, like when you're talking about something like this, you're bringing people's awareness to it. You're not
exactly.
complaining, but you're bringing it out so people would know about it.
And I'm glad you said that because I say that a lot, especially with all the things that's going on over here. When they're dealing with ICE, when they deal with the government, when they deal with a lot of things. It's like people are so easy to get wrapped up in what's going on wrong and get into that emotion and just stay there. But when it comes down to actually having a solution, no, they don't want to talk about that part. They only want to talk about what's going on, what's being done, what is negative, right? They don't want to talk about, well, listen, how can we not have that happen anymore? Like, what do we need to do for that not to happen anymore? They don't want to have that conversation. They just think that the person that did it is just wrong. That's all it's about, them being wrong. The person that they did it to, they was just this, that, and that. Nobody wants to talk about, okay, so factors. Let's put this as a factor. Like things that happen to people is because they were there for it to happen to them. So now let's put this in a perspective. What do we do going forward so nobody else becomes these people in order for us to move forward? Because if you don't, then they're going to continue to use this as a means to keep us separated and have people reactive off of emotion. And until people realize that that's the play, they're going to continue to fall into that place. That's why whenever the person I'm asker was asking me about why Americans so racist, it's so many different answers to that because it's not all of America. It's just people that are in America, but not America itself. Because think about it, all of the immigration and everything that happens. I mean, the world, well, let's just say America is ran by a bunch of people who are not indigenous to America. So to say that America is racist itself is not true. But
Hmm.
is there people in America that are racist? Then yes. But
Hmm.
when outside this country, we're looked at as all races. Just like when we go outside this country, people will look to harm a person that's from America as if the people from America are responsible for the things that may be happening in their country. No, the things are happening to the people that are from America here, let
Hmm.
alone what may be going on in your country and where you're from and what's going on with you. And that, yeah, maybe some Americans are tied to that or people from America are tied to that, but it's not Americans. And so we take that rap, and that's the same thing I'm saying when it comes down to the things that we go through in life. Uh, we got to be able to be people who understand that there are problems, but there is a solution. Are we going to be the group of people that focus on the solution? Or are we going to be the group of people that's going to be moved by our emotions off of the problem? So that's one of the biggest questions that we all have to ask ourselves over here, right?
Hmm.
So
Yeah, and the way he was putting that question as well, this makes you think that America's only one nation, because America's that country where there's so many different nationalities, so many different,
yeah,
yeah, like so many different people. There's not
hmm
one.
one
Even
way of
just
thinking.
Native Americans are completely different from, like, so what do you, when you're asking Americans are racist, what kind of Americans? Like there's so many
Mm.
different Americans, and a lot of like Americans who came from different country, whose parents came from different country, who just came from different country yesterday here. So that's why you can't say Americans are racist, because that's not
Yeah,
true. They're just
right.
certain people, and it doesn't matter if they're in America or another country. It's just something that they grew up
Yeah,
with wrong
condition.
information.
Yeah. And that's the worst part about being an American is that the world thinks that all Americans feel the same about things that go on, right? And excuse me, but they don't understand that we don't.
Hmm.
But we all have to hold America down regardless because this is our home. So it's not like we could it's almost like we could talk about our home, but we can't allow other people to just come in here and do what they want. It's like, yeah, we can have issues with each other inside the home and do what we got to do, but we can't allow somebody from outside to just come in and do what they want to do. Now we can't do that because that's how family is. It's like where I grew up at, family is like that. Yeah, they might have their internal little family issues, but you can't come messing with them because even the people they got issues with is going to team up against you because they're family. And I think that's what people got to realize, like, yo, we don't agree with everything that America does to people in different countries and all that. We just saying that, yo, if you come over here, we gonna all have to rock out. It's not because we don't, we feeling like, you know what I'm saying, we don't sympathize with y'all, but you can't come over here and just attack everybody feeling like everybody, because it's not, because we gonna rock out. And that's the part that we're trying to say when it comes down to everything going on in life, even in family. We got to realize that there is a solution. And if we are a group of people who want to focus on the solution, we'll get there. But if we only harbor and hark on the problem, then we're going to continue this vicious cycle. So listen, let's do this before we get out of here because I want people to know how we have our own problems internally. Yeah, Cam, that's exactly what I'm saying. We got our own stuff going on to the fact that when people from outside this country look at us, they think that we all feel the same way and we don't. We got our own stuff going on over here, yo. Like really, but we all gonna rock out for this country if it come down to it. That's what we're saying. We're saying don't come over here with that because we all gonna rock. But we're not. We don't feel the same way that everybody else feel when it comes to things that may be happening to you in your country, because we notice that people come over here from other countries, or there's been so many things that's been reported recently of Americans traveling to other countries and being abused and being treated crazy because of the way
Hmm.
it seems like. And we like, yo, that ain't us. We lineage. Like, yo, listen, we coming over here to spend our money with y'all because we rock with y'all, like that. Not because we got a problem with you, but if you're gonna treat us like this when we come over here, then yo, I'm just telling you, this is what's gonna happen to you when you come around. So that's what we're trying to say when it comes down to us being Americans. And I think that's why they think we all feel the same because we're going to all defend America. We're just saying, no, we don't agree with everything that's going on, but we're going to rock out for America. So just relax. Let's just have conversations and we'll find a solution. Let's not always be so quick to anger. But before we get
Yeah,
out of here,
and I want to
oh,
like
go
save
ahead.
this one as well, because I watched different news in different countries as well, and they have the same way, their own internal problems the same way. You know, America
Everybody.
has their American problems, Italy has the Italian problems, France has their French problems, Estonia has Estonian problems. You know, every country has their own problems, and I think the main thing they should do is take care of their own people first.
Exactly. And then leave other people alone. And then if you are going to rock with other people, have some type of way where you can make it benefit everybody. You know what I mean? But that's not the energy that a lot of people that are in power are on. It's just it comes down to the everyday people like us, right? To be able to communicate amongst each other. It's like today, you got an American and somebody that's from Eastern Europe on that's communicating right now, having a conversation, and it's not the way it makes it seem like what's going on with America and Europe, like right now, like because what's going on with Ukraine and Russia and America, all that stuff right now would make it seem like this conversation between us is not supposed to happen, right? But then they realize that, it's us who suffer from it because it's people on the ground who are being hurt by these things, right? That people, when they start to engage in things that can consider like war and all of these other things. But look, I just know that tonight, I hope a lot of people got a lot from this conversation because happiness is something that we buy on a daily basis and
Mm-hmm.
something that we can buy. It's just that we have been taught, like you said, based on tradition and conditioning that we cannot. And I think that's where the correlation has got lost. Yes, we can, because we could buy unhappiness as well. So
Mm-hmm.
how can we not buy happiness too? So I'm really appreciative for you to come on and share your perspective because, you know, there's not going to be a way that a lot of people think about it from that perspective unless it's brought up because they always tie happiness to
Yeah.
uh,
They just
everything
my
else.
goal is for them to stop saying that, and instead of saying replace the money can't buy happiness with just having money doesn't make you happy. That's okay.
Gotcha. That's the
But
phrase.
you can use the money, and I want more, like I want more happy rich people who are happy or joyful, have more money, so they would use that money to create more good things in the world. Use the
Facts.
money to create good things instead of using the money for negative things.
Facts. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. So look, before we get out of here, we want people to know how they could get your book. And possibly even, if they want to have a conversation with you about, really focusing on happiness as, something that they can actually really bring into their lives. How can they do that?
Oh well, actually my webpage is BYPIRET, like my first name. But I'm remaking right now because right now with everything going on, not so many people are actually able to go in a happiness right away. So I'm rebranding actually for anxiety and social anxiety to focus on that a little bit more and help people go through from all that and then move over to the happiness. I'm
Gotcha.
kind of like
Mm.
rebranding right now for like probably for next few years to try to get people to the point where they can actually go back to happiness because all the things that going on right now, people have so many people have just even lost the thought about happiness.
Mm. Okay. So they could reach you on your website. I know they could find you on social media platforms as well too. So what social media platforms do you frequent that they could find you on? Is it Facebook, Instagram?
That's
Which ones?
you that right now that is in YouTube as well. I'm gonna start putting more like I'm saying, I'm rebranding, so it's gonna be on my YouTube channel in a different ways as well. Right now it's still happiness expert, but I can comment later on in your YouTube channel with those links.
Okay. Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Let's do that. That way, whenever I put out your clips and stuff like that, I can add your links. And for those people who may be interested
Yeah,
in your
and if they
rebranding
want to
as
see
well,
something like this,
yeah.
and of course they could go on Amazon and buy the book. That's the
So
easiest
the
way. Go on
book is
Amazon
on
and
Amazon.
buy the book, because there's even like how to make your shopping list, and like I said, explain how can you find out how do you feel happiness and what makes you feel happy. So there's different parts. There's not just one paragraph about how to buy happiness. There's also how to find out what is happiness for you and how you're programmed and things like that.
Oh wow, yeah, that's important. So listen, to all of y'all that watch tonight, I definitely appreciate y'all. To everyone that's going to watch the playback, I definitely appreciate y'all too as well. And if you are a person out there that's battling between having a whole lot of negative things going on in your life, but you do have those moments that you can actually, consider happy moments or happier times and things like that. If you need to find ways to hone in more on that part so it can help you get through the negative things, I definitely would advise you to reach out to Pirate and seeing if you can, or go on Amazon, buy the book, right? Money Can Buy You Happiness, or reach out to her, maybe have a conversation to help with mindset, because really, technically, like she said earlier, it's the way you see things. My guest last week, she said it's the lens that you look out of. Me, all the time, I say it's perspective. All of these things are the same. And then when you have a bunch of or a group of people all leading you into the right way,
Hmm.
especially for people who have been successfully able to deal with the negative in their life. That's all we're saying. So if you are a person that deals with a lot of negative thinking, if you're an overthinker, which the number one cause to a lot of relationships dismantling and things going bad is overthinking, because you can put things in your mind that never happened, that's not happening, and it'll cause you to react a certain way. Next thing you know, you are in a different space. So overthinkers, you have to find a way to find joy and find happiness in things as well too. You can't overthink things. You can't always think that the way that you think is right, and you're not going to always be right. So, and I'm gonna be honest with you, you're gonna be wrong more than you are right when you overthink. So these are things that we all can use help in. So if you guys are feeling like that's you and you want to move up and do better, Pirate is out here for you. Outside of that, listen, we want to make sure that all of you out there know that there is hope and happiness in your life if you look for it. And if that's your energy, you on, vibe for it, gravitate towards it, only accept that into your world, and you can do so many things. Trust me, I'm going through a lot. Today has been one of the most different days of the year so far, starting off for me. But we're going to continue to keep moving in a positive way. We're going to keep moving up. And I want all of y'all out there to do the same. So stick with me next week. I got another amazing guest, all right, that we're gonna bring on, and we're gonna keep this train moving. So stay fly out there, and y'all know how I say each and every week. If you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will. So until next week, y'all, peace.